Hello, everybody out there on YouTube. It's Chris with another exciting episode of My Talking Head. This is episode 2 of the new My Talking Head. Again, here we are. I said I would try to do these a little bit more often, and this is my second of these new versions of My Talking Head. And I am standing in front of my lovely movie collection here. I'm actually about to head out to the movies. I'm going to go see Nightcrawler, I believe. At least that's the plan currently. But there's something I wanted to talk to you guys. I told you when I started these new My Talking Head blogs that these weren't just going to be about Halloween Horror Nights. These are going to be about other things. And one of my other passions in life, besides theme parks and Halloween Horror Nights, is movies. This is you know, I got some movie memorabilia, and apparently everybody on YouTube who talks about movies or reviews movies, it's like a prerequisite to stand in front of like your massive movie collection or some of your movie memorabilia and stuff like that. Even Halloween Horror Nights fans. I don't like to do that, but I thought it'd be funny if I did it this time anyway, just because that's how I roll. But yeah, so the reason I wanted to do this episode was because last night I watched, well, first of all, this time of year, like I said, I'm a massive movie fan, and this time of year what I like to do is I like to go back through the movies from this year that I have not yet seen and see them. You know, I like to catch up on my movie watching yearly movies that I've missed over the past year. Mostly because like this time of year, like this is a lot of people, you know, this is like Oscar dump season. This is where like all the movies out there, or most of or a lot of the movies out there, the majority of movies out there are basically Oscar bait. They're trying to get their movies like these are like, you know, movies that are made for Oscar. These are movies that are that their main goal is to get as much recognition from the Academy and other awards organizations out there as best as they can. Okay, so I usually like to go back and try to you know, to catch up on all those things and watch some of the movies that do have the Oscar buzz. You know, whatever I do, I have an Oscar party every year, and there's like a pool involved and stuff like that. So I like to stay up to date with all my movies. But last night I watched two films, really three films, but one of them doesn't really count. But I watched two movies last night that I didn't catch in the theaters this year. One was Nonstop, and the other was Edge of Tomorrow. Now, Edge of Tomorrow has this reputation this year of being a very underrated movie. A lot of people really liked Edge of Tomorrow, but it really didn't hit at the box office with audiences. Got some great reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it's like 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, or something along like between 86 and 90% last time I checked. So it's got a lot of like really good like critical buzz, but it just really didn't hit with audiences. And I'm not exactly sure why. I don't know if maybe some people thought, you know, I mean, Tom Cruise did Oblivion the year before. Some people might have looked at the trailers and said, hey, that looks a little too much like Oblivion, and maybe we'll skip it because Oblivion really wasn't that good of a movie. I don't know. It just didn't hit well with audiences. But Edge of Tomorrow was actually really good. I was very surprised with Edge of Tomorrow. I wasn't expecting a whole lot. Usually when a movie has like all that sort of, you know, buzz behind it, I try not to get too hyped up or involved in that buzz. I like to look at it from my own perspective or whatever. But I was really pleasantly surprised with Edge of Tomorrow. It's a really slick, sort of smart science fiction action thriller with some really cool concepts, some really cool ideas, some great action, a really good performance by Tom Cruise as well. Emily Blunt is good in it as well. Bill Paxton's in it. He's doing his Bill Paxton thing, and Brendan Gleeson's also in it as well. He shows up. But just a really, really smart, slick, sophisticated action sci-fi thriller. And then it got me thinking, because it really is a good movie. If you haven't seen Edge of Tomorrow, I really think that you should. You know, even if you have, you know, even if you might think out there that, hey, it looks a little bit like Oblivion and I'm going to skip it or whatever, you really should check it out. It really is, if you have not seen it, it really is quite a good movie. One of the best movies of the year, really, that I've seen for 2014. So if you haven't checked out Edge of Tomorrow, I really think that you should check out Edge of Tomorrow. But that got me thinking. Underrated movies. Okay, movies come out all the time, you know, and, you know, sometimes you have a movie that, you know, like Edge of Tomorrow has like really good critical buzz, but doesn't really hit well with audiences, or something on the opposite end where, you know, it doesn't have the critical success or the box office success, but finds a niche at home or on cable or something like that, and becomes like this really underdeveloped or underappreciated classic. And I think Edge of Tomorrow, when time passes, I think Edge of Tomorrow will actually end up being one of those films, one of those more underappreciated style movies where, maybe 10 years from now, it is considered sort of a sci-fi classic. It really is a good film. I can't stress that enough. And Tom Cruise, really funny too. It's actually a very funny movie as well. I was surprised at some of the humor that's involved in Edge of Tomorrow. But that got me thinking. So, what are some of your movies that you believe are underrated? Movies that you can't, for the life of you, think didn't catch on with audiences or didn't catch on at the box office or didn't catch on critically. What are some of yours? Now, the reason I decided to go in front of my movie wall is because I have a couple picked out in my collection that I think are underrated, and I wanted to share with you guys that I have. So, one of the first ones that I have here is a little film. Where are you? This came out, I believe this was 1999. This is a movie called Arlington Road, starring Jeff Bridges and, what's his name? Tim Robbins. Again, it's a thriller. It's about, I don't want to give too much away because it does, it is a movie that if you watch it, if you give too much about the plot away, it could spoil things, but it's about a former, I believe he's an FBI explosives expert or whatever, moves next door to this suburban family who's got who may or may not have some secrets. It's a good film. If you haven't seen Arlington Road, it really is a good film. I think it's very underappreciated. I haven't seen it in quite a while, but it really is. It's, as far as my collection goes, that is one of my I think is very underrated. Never really got the attention that is. There are really good performances by Tim Robbins, Jeff Bridges, and Joan Cusack is also in it as well. Really, really good performances, creepy performances, especially by Tim Robbins and Joan Cusack. I don't want to spoil too much if you haven't seen it, but if you haven't seen Arlington Road, I highly suggest that you check out the movie. It really is quite good. Another one I wanted to pick out, and this is a timely one, is this one right here. Now, this one's a very controversial one because it's kind of a love-hate movie. Deep Impact. See that? No, it's not a porn movie either. Deep Impact came out the same year that Armageddon came out. I think Deep Impact came out in May, and Armageddon came out in June or July. I can't really remember. I can't stress enough how much I hate Michael Bay. That's another blog altogether. But as far as the two goes, I think Deep Impact kind of got lost in the whole Armageddon box office craze that happened that year. But as far as the two films goes, Deep Impact is one of okay, well, let me backtrack. I'm a sucker for disaster movies, period. I love disaster movies. I've got some up here. I even own The Core, okay? I love disaster films. But in terms of that year, and another timely topic because of the whole comet landing yesterday, out of the two, it is definitely the stronger narrative between Deep Impact and Armageddon. It's got a lot more emotional punch. Yes, there are some heavy-handed moments as well, but I feel overall much more effective than Armageddon. Much more effective, works a whole lot better. Some really good performances. Elijah Wood's in that pre Lord of the Rings days. Téa Leoni's also in it, and she's really not that annoying in it. And I know she's kind of an actor that divides people. The movie's directed by Mimi Leder. I can't remember any of her other film credits, but I know that she did a lot of TV work. She did a lot of stuff for ER. Really, really talented director. Again, at the time, too, when Deep Impact and Armageddon came out, stuff like special effects really weren't that were not that advanced at the time in terms of CG and stuff like that. But a much more better effective story, and I think got lost in the whole Armageddon craze, and just a much better film overall. Yeah, like I said, it can get a little cheesy at times. I do love the ending of the film. It's actually a really poignant ending and works really well. Morgan Freeman's also in the movie. He plays the President of the United States, pre-Barack Obama. But it does, in my opinion, got buried in the whole Armageddon craze of that year, and is just a wholeheartedly more superior film than Armageddon, and I think underrated for that reason alone. It does kind of get lost these days because Armageddon has, it's kind of, Armageddon is what it is, but like over the years, because of, Michael Bay and his sort of shenanigans, I think it's weird. Like, I know people like Armageddon, and I can't for the life of me know why, but it's almost got this reputation as being like a so bad it's good type of movie, which, I don't know, I just think it's a bad movie. And I do believe that Deep Impact got lost in the shuffle. But anyway, so I was just curious, what do you think? Or do you have movies that you think are underrated by the masses, that you think are really awesome, or you think that should get more recognition than what they have now? So just curious. And like I said, if you haven't seen Edge of Tomorrow, I really, really think you should see Edge of Tomorrow. It's a really, really good science fiction film. Not confusing at all. You would think that, a plot like this would be really confusing. Not confusing at all. It's really easy to follow, but still at the same time has like these really cool ideas and concepts. So that's it for this episode of My Talking Head. But I was just curious. I want to know, some of your guys, like, do you have movies that you think are underrated or underappreciated? Like I said, I'm about to go see Nightcrawler, so maybe you'll get like a little review from me about Nightcrawler or whatever movie I go see. I was thinking about Nightcrawler or Big Hero 6. But yeah, so that's it for now, guys. I will talk to you later.